Today we're talking about how to put your man in his place without being toxic and without wasting your energy on him and actually gaining aura, as the young ones say today. If you know me and if you follow me, you know that I like to say that men are easy to train like dogs, because you know what? The man that loves you, and if you treat him and train him the right way, will be like a golden retriever. He'll be right on your lap and he'll do whatever it is you say that you want him to do. But with all of this feminine energy sprinkle content there's out there, I do fear that a lot of girlies get this idea that the way you talk to a man is the way that I might be talking to you on this video, which is extremely upfront, direct, and super like a little nasty, because sometimes you need to know the truth in a little bit of a nasty way in order for you to clock it. That's not how you talk to a man. That's not how you get a man to actually listen to you. If you talk like I talk to you. The things I share with you here, bluntly, directly, and with the tone that I'm using, is not the tone you communicate to a man, especially if you're trying to get the lifestyle or have a relationship with a man that is a relationship where he listens to you, where he cares about your needs, and where he understands that you need maybe a little more of a softer life. If you truly want a man to care about you, you are not going to be talking to him the way that I talk to you. But sometimes you gotta hear things the way that they are in order for you to clock how to do things. The first thing you need to really dive into, if you truly want to learn how to communicate with a man without being toxic, so that you can actually get everything that you want without losing your own energy, is to use the law of attraction. And the law of attraction states that whatever it is you put your attention to is what energy will flow towards. If you have your man and he's doing something that you don't want him to do, the worst thing you can be doing is to get and try to talk about it, like, oh my God, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, I don't want you to do this, why are you doing that? I just hate it when you do this, I hate it when you do that, you're just never doing anything right, who do you think you are, blah, 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 blah. This is literally telling the universe that the only thing you can put your focus onto is negativity when it comes to your relationship, which means it's gonna send you more of those instances to focus on until you realize that you're doing this to yourself. Yes, I said that. You're actually bringing onto yourself this negative energy because the only thing you can focus on is everything that he's doing wrong. And if he's doing a lot of things wrong, if he's having a lot of red flags, and you can't go somewhere and sit and meditate within yourself and get your negative energy out and start focusing on good things around you, if you cannot focus on anything good around you, like, oh my God, I'm so happy I can even breathe today, I don't think that relationship is good. But if you do use the law of attraction against yourself, you will end up in a relationship where everything is literally negative and where you'll be like, yeah, he's proven me right that all of these bad things are coming up. Of course they're coming up, darling. The only thing you can focus on is everything that he's doing wrong instead of praising the things that he's doing right, because he deserves to know that he's doing something right. He's gonna do more things right if you let him know that he's doing things right. Men are kind of like dogs. Like, if you have a dog that bites someone and you sit down and you're like, you did all of this wrong, you did all of that wrong, you're still giving the dog attention. The dog does not speak human. It's not gonna know that it did something wrong. All it knows is that you're talking to it instead of you just removing your energy and giving it treats for something that it did right. It is so fundamental to learn the law of attraction when it comes to dealing with relationships, because it really does teach you that whatever it is you focus on, you're going to get more of. And that's a lot of the times why a lot of girlies end up in relationships with narcissistic men, because that's the only thing they can focus on. Like, oh my God, men are so terrible. Men are so terrible. Yeah, of course you're going to end up with a terrible man. That's the only thing you can have in your vision. That's literally what you're programming your life algorithm to. The next thing we have to talk about is you cannot meet fire with fire. And I'm not saying there isn't moments where you guys are not going to have discussions. It's normal in a relationship. Yeah, it is to have discussions sometimes. If you're trying to meet him doing something wrong with being fiery, first and foremost, you are wasting all of your energy on him. And that energy you could be putting into making yourself a better version of yourself. Energetically, you are going to be much more attractive and also more abundant, someone who's actually going to be able to pour from a cup that's already full. If the energy that you are going to spend on being angry you go spend on recycling it within yourself, learning how to actually calm yourself down. And then if you really think he's doing something wrong, like crazy wrong, you bring it up with him in a way that is calm, centered, and also like, you know, you let him know things in a soft voice. And if he cannot handle that, then as I said before, he's probably not the right man for you. You cannot expect a man who is gonna take care of you, who is gonna take care of you from top to bottom, who's gonna provide for you, to be there for you if the first thing he meets when he gets home is literally you being fiery, like, oh my god, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, why are you never doing this for me? Like, he's gonna want to eat a pizza slice in the middle of a parking lot smoking a cigarette. Because he's like, I don't want to go home to my woman. Because the sweetness he knew when he met you is suddenly replaced by someone who's always jabbing at him. That is not something you build a healthy relationship on. And you might say, well, I deserve to be honest too. Yeah, you deserve to be honest. But there's a big difference between conveying that honesty and something that you don't appreciate your partner doing by shouting at him, by telling him, I don't like that you do this, I think you should do that, other men are doing this. And that leads me to the next thing that you should absolutely never say around your man. That's gonna make it's gonna make him really repulsed by you. If you're constantly talking about some like, well, other men did that for me, other men did this for me, I could just go back to my ex-boyfriend because he used to do all of this and all of that for me. You think you might be on some sprinkle stuff like, oh my god, look, I'm always taken care of, I don't do 50-50. This man knows that this is a script you've picked up on from social media, and now you're like talking to the camera like he's the camera. Like, yeah, like my ex-boyfriend always did this for me or did that for me. No, the way that you're taken care of has to be very clear from the way that you show up. And if you're constantly angry, as I said before, and if you're constantly needing to tell him how your ex did things or how you're usually treated, he's gonna be like, you're full of BS. This is not true. Especially a man who actually got his heart in the right place. He's not gonna wanna deal with that. He's trying to build something with you for you. He's not trying to build something with someone who has this like, oh, okay, well, sprinkle, you need to do this because that man did that. He's gonna wanna do way less because he does not feel special in your company first and foremost. He's gonna feel like he's a doormat. Knowing what you deserve and communicating it in a way that makes it seem like, oh yeah, you need to make it very clear and you need to verbalize it in order for you to ever get it, is gonna make him extremely repulsed. Like on some, you guys are starting to date and you're like, oh, when are you taking me on a trip? When are you doing this for me? When are you doing that for me? Or like he picks up the check and you're like, as you should. That's not, This man is gonna think, that's disgusting, I don't wanna deal with that. And you might be thinking in this video, oh, I'm talking the men's side of the game. You know what? I am someone who does believe you can have a healthy relationship with a man, but you just need to understand that there are also parts of this where you need to clock yourself. Because one thing that I want to say that is very important to understand is that you attract someone based on your own confidence level, on what you got going for yourself, your own problem. That's why someone who's not worked on themselves is going to attract someone else who's not worked on themselves. Like why an insecure woman might attract someone who's a narcissist. You have to be very, very open with yourself, critical, not self-critical, but like you have to be open to the fact that maybe there's something that you can work on too. This does not mean that if some guy comes up to you and it's like, oh, you need to work on this and you need to work on that, I think you're bad at this and that you need to be like, oh my god, I'm so bad, like no, that's not what we're saying. But if you ever want the life where you're getting everything that you deserve and everything that you desire, everything you want, you also have to be aware that you need to work on yourself. And the sexiest woman, and I don't mean like you need to attract no man, I mean like in general, the best thing a woman can do for herself is to be open with working on herself, be dedicated to her growth. And you know what this also looks like, which is another tip? You have to be willing to make it seem like you're the one surrendering, while in reality, you're actually just saving your energy. Sometimes if a man wants to fight with you or he's trying to talk to you or discuss some things with you that you're not like, this is gonna drain your energy. A lot of women today have a tendency that they want to like continue the fight or they want to bring up whatever it is that's wrong, like right on the spot, like right now, right when it happened. And I'm sorry, girl, that's giving gladiator energy. That's giving like, we need to fight this right now. That is going to be like, oh yeah, you're my competitor to a man. You're going to seem like you're his competitor. You're not going to seem like you're his companion. You're going to make it seem like you actually just want to fight. You're not actually here to solve anything. Especially if that man is actually healthy, you will actually sabotage your relationship big time if you're constantly trying to fight. As soon as he says something that rubs you wrong, you can bring things up in a nice, timely manner. But you need to be comfortable if a man starts talking, yapping about something he wants to talk about, and you're like, you know what, this is gonna drain my energy. You need to be comfortable starting to sing Christmas songs in your head and just like almost just listening, but then also retracting into yourself and finding that inner peace, that inner power within yourself. Because a lot of the times, the reason why you have a tendency, or why women have a tendency to snap back at men, or like they're trying to talk them, like, oh my god, I need to talk, is because they have insane people pleasing tendencies. And these people pleasing tendencies makes it seem like, okay, well, we need to solve things right now, or else we can't coexist. That's something that us women have been raised to believe, like, oh, we need to solve things right then and there. If we don't do that, that means that we can't coexist. That means that everything is done, everything is null and void, and everything is terrible. This is something that can really extremely sabotage a perfectly good relationship. If you're constantly reacting the second someone does something, that is going to be very, very easy. It's going to make you very easily manipulated, but it's also going to be very telltale that you are someone who's like, as soon as something happens, you have to try to fix it, or else you feel like your world is going to break. This is something that is going to give a very clear signal that you do have control issues, and it's hard to hear. I've been the type of person who has had this before, like being a perfectionist, a people pleaser, having control issues, feeling like you need to micromanage the situation, feeling like you need to be on the same page all of the time. And if you're not on the same page, that means that you can't work together or you can't be together. That is extremely toxic. That is something that's going to ruin relationships. It's both going to ruin your relationship with your partner, but it's also going to ruin your relationship with yourself, because you know what's going to happen? You think, oh, well, if he's not going to be able to get on the whole same page with me, that means that I'm going to go find someone else who's going to be like, no. I'm not saying that some partner might not be right for you and then you're going to go find someone who's going to be right for you. But you have to understand that if you do not work on yourself, you will see this problem come around again and again and again until you solve it, until you work on it by yourself. You're going to continuously end up purging the toxicity from someone because you're literally toxic yourself. Because being a people pleaser, being an overcompensator, that is toxic tendencies, whether we like it or not. It is not something that we're here to say that it's bad for you to deal with that, because there's reasons why you end up developing those things, because you probably had a toxic childhood or you experienced something. But it doesn't come from nothing. It's not something that's nice. You might think that being a perfectionist, being a people pleaser, being a control freak is something, a lot of people think that it's a good thing, but in reality it's something that's going to really sabotage your self-growth. It's going to really keep you from actually finding the version of yourself that you deserve to truly find. And if you cannot find the version of yourself that you truly deserve to find, your partner will not be able to truly see what you need, who you deserve to have in your life. They will never actually be able to meet your needs. And that means that you constantly get into fights because you feel like that person needs to be 100% on your side all the time. I mean, they need to be on your side if something does happen, you know what I mean? But like, if he can't say something that you don't agree with, and then like you're on some, oh my god, I need to fix this right now, we need to have a discussion right now. If you can't go within yourself and say, okay, I need to sit and like think about this, and I'm just gonna sit and meditate about this, talk about this with myself, ponder, and not on some like, I'm gonna write a whole paragraph, I'm gonna really have a talk. We're gonna talk. We need to talk. I'm not here to promote no femcel content. I'm like, you can actually have a really positive relationship with your partner, but if you want to have a positive relationship with your partner, you also need to have a positive relationship with yourself, or else you will end up time and time again running into the same problems. Yes, that's why I say that law of attraction is so important. That's why I say that it's quintessential for you to truly tap into, okay, well, maybe I do have things that I need to work on, because situations will always be a mirror to you, whether you like it or not. And it is your responsibility. And what does responsibility mean? Well, the ability to respond differently. It is your responsibility to sit back and say, okay, well, how does my responding to this actually pan out for me? And if you're constantly trying to teach a man, like on some, oh, well, this woman on the internet, me, said that you can train a man like a dog, so I'm gonna train you. Like, if you're trying to talk to him like that, like, this guy is gonna be like, no, you can't be doing this, girl. You need to understand that whatever it is you are learning here is something you're learning, and you need to apply it in a way that is soft, that is calm, that is collected within yourself. And if you do not feel like you could come off collected and calm, then there's some work you need to sit and do with yourself. Because imagine this, if you are a child and someone starts shouting at you, do you feel good? No. So do you think this guy is gonna feel good if you start shouting at him? If he starts shouting at you, you're not gonna feel good either. But if you shout at him and you're like on some, who do you think you are? Like, that's disrespect. And you might think that, well, you can do that to a man and he can't do that to women. It's different. Just because you're a woman and men are and do what they do does not mean that you need to disrespect them in order for you to gain respect. It will never actually mean that you gain respect. It will actually mean that you lose your power, you lose your energy, and you end up tiring yourself like crazy. Because first and foremost, you're not going to gain any respect from the man that truly loves you. Second of all, you're not going to gain any power, because the power comes within you taking your energy, putting it into yourself, and then moving calmly, collected, and in a way where you know how to communicate things, even if you need to sit with it for a while and then you can meet and talk about it. That's where your power lies. Because if you're constantly reacting, then you're actually the one who's being controlled. Then you're the one who's easily controlled, and then there's a big chance that you're just going to become more toxic than you already are. And then if you're trying to get into a relationship right after you got out of one, like, you're wondering why things end up being bad again. No, it's because your nervous system is programmed to make things toxic, because that's the only thing that you're used to dealing with. That's probably what you've been used to dealing with since you were a kid, and now that's the only thing you're comfortable with dealing with. That's why it ends up coming up again. Before we end this video, I want to say, you're not doing this because you want to please him. You're doing this because you deserve to have this power within yourself. You deserve to have a healthy relationship. If you feel like a healthy relationship means that you need to be shouting, you need to be like on some, why did you do that? Why did you do that? Then the relationship is not healthy. And I'm not saying this to talk the men's side, but as I said, if you're in some man's face on some like sprinkle, you need to do more, someone did this for me already, that's not how the sword swings. That's not how things work. And I just wanted to make a little video about this, because some might say that, ooh, I'm toxic for saying how to communicate with your man without being toxic, but call me toxic for that. The power of law of attraction does not lie. And this is basically what I'm teaching right here. And before we finish this video, I just want to add a little something. Like, you might ask, what does this have to do with putting a man in his place? Well, if you actually truly master detachment, and not detachment like, I don't care about you, you're terrible, you're horrible, I hate you, but you actually master looking within yourself and working on yourself, then it is going to be way easier for you to have conversations with your man about the things that you do not necessarily like, and for you to express joy in the things that you do like, to the point where a man will literally be a golden retriever who's like in your lap waiting for your next response. He's going to be there in your lap. He's going to be waiting because he wants to do right by you. But you cannot get to put a man in his place, and it's going to sound so wrong, but it's not wrong. It's not bad. You cannot get to put a man in his place and make him be the right man for you, or have him be the right man for you. He's not going to be able to be the right man for you, do what you deserve, if you are not willing to do what you deserve for yourself. If you're not willing to look within yourself and find the calm, find the serenity within yourself. You cannot expect a man to provide that for you if you do not provide it for yourself.
Okay? That is everything that you need to understand when it comes to putting a man in his place. If you cannot give it to yourself, if you cannot even calm yourself down, how do you expect a man to ever be calm around you? That's what I truly needed to say. So, what does this have to do with putting a man in his place? Well, if you cannot calm yourself down, if you cannot convey the things that you want with grace, with taking a distance sometimes, reflecting, if you are constantly needing to react, you cannot expect a man to listen to your command. Because a man, whether he likes it or not, likes to actually listen to someone who tells him what he needs to do, because he likes fulfilling orders. He's kind of like a soldier and you're the general, but you cannot make him feel like he's subservient, like on some, you need to do this, you need to do that. And like acting all, like all crazy, like trying to constantly be reactive, because someone would never actually be obedient or subservient to a man or to a woman, listen to a woman, I mean, if she was constantly reacting. The same way that they're not trying to be in the military with some commander who's constantly like freaking out. Like they would not see him as being a respected position if he could not keep his cool, if he could not look within himself, and if he could not get the energy he needed for himself so he could actually lead. Men actually like to be led, but they want to seem like they're actually doing all the hard work. Like they want to feel like they're doing the hard work. They just don't want to be talked down to. And if you cannot get it within yourself to learn to take your reactions and like, okay, I need to work on this. This is okay. Maybe why am I reacting so heavily? Why is this something that's triggering me? If you cannot do that, you are constantly going to end up in a relationship with men where you are going to feel like, why is he not doing what I want in a relationship? I'm being so good. I'm telling him what I'm being clear on my BS meter. Like, what's going on? No, it's because you are constantly probably overreacting, or whenever something comes up, you're like constantly almost like pointing at him, and he's of course not going to respect you for that. So if you want to put a man in his place, you need to also be able to contain yourself, know when to act, how to act in a way that brings out the best in him and communicates in a way that is actually mature, so you can figure out, is he mature or is he not mature? Because if you are not mature, girl, which you probably most likely won't be if you're a people pleaser, then it's going to be very unlikely that you're going to end up it's going to be very likely that you're going to end up in a relationship with someone who's not going to be able to listen and do the things that you deserve and you want, not because he's doing it because you're like, you need to do this. That's what he feels like when you're shouting at him. No, because he wants to do it because you're communicating with him in a way that feels warm, and it also feels like, okay, you know what? I respect this. I want to do better for us. So anyways, that was a little bit about how to put a man in his place. And I can't wait to talk to you guys next video. Bye.